But now up next, let's put our hands together for John Paul.
Thank you, Brian. I'm supposed to hug you up on a Sunday, but you'll have some love at home. First, before I get started, how about a big round of applause for yourselves for supporting such a great... I'm going to push this out of the way because I don't feel like walking around it and it has wheels. First and foremost, good evening, everyone. Thank you. I know most of you were raised better than that. I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago. That is where I was born. I was born in a city and town in my grandmother and grandfather's house in a town called Sangre Grande. That is where I'm from. I was born in the upstairs bedroom, right above the downstairs part. I don't have an accent because my parents moved here when I was really young. They moved to Flemington Park when I was about 2 years old. So I'm a Trini raised in captivity. That is what I am. I'm usually lured out by doubles with slight pepper and some extra chutney sauce and thing, yeah, son. But I married a Trini woman. My wife is Trini. If she were here, she'd be like, oh my goodness, look at all these people all dressed up. This is so nice. He come with his hair braid up, tight, and his little Air Jordans and thing. Which is great for arguing, because no matter what she says to me when she's yelling, I just feel like I'm on vacation, right? It's like being back home. It's relaxing. I like to dress myself, because, most Caribbean and West Indian men feel they have a little sense of fashion and thing, right? So I was coming here, I had on my jacket and I had on the jeans I had on before this. Kind of like Monty, I had on jeans, but they had the rips in them, right? The ones all the kids are wearing, right? So I had that, and I'm about to walk out the house, and I'm like, babe, check it out. And she's like, why are you wearing those pants? I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, why are you wearing those pants? And I'm like, I gotta go do the show, remember? I gotta tell some jokes just down the street, Ajax, SPH. And she's like, yeah, I understand all of that, but why are you wearing those pants? And I'm like, because this is fashion, baby. This is look good. This is fashion. This is what fashion looks like. And without missing a beat, she's like, that's not fashion. That just looks like you don't know how to climb a blasted fence. And that's how I ended up wearing this. Happy to be here. I like this. This is the kind of event I like to perform at. This is the thing I like to see. I like to see us and our color and our people doing our thing for a good cause, man. We should always be proud of that, always. Because they try to paint us in a different light sometimes, I got two beautiful kids, two beautiful little black kids that I got to try to raise in this society. Well, they're in the car, so I have to hurry this up. Relax, the car's running. I'm kidding. Car's not running. Gas is way too expensive. I can't afford them things, Yamato. I grew up here. I grew up in Toronto. I grew up in Scarborough. I grew up. I love this place. I love everything about this place. I'd love to live in Trinidad and Tobago, because it's real hot on thing and that beach on thing, but this is where I am. I don't live anywhere else. I still hang out and do all the things we're supposed to do. It's funny because I can't share a lot of the things with my kids that I used to do because my kids are bougie. First things first, they have their own bedroom. They're living in a nice house. I didn't grow up in no house, man. I grew up in an apartment, in a 2-bedroom apartment with my parents in one bedroom and me in the next bedroom. And people ask me, what was it like? What was it like growing up? Was it different? And here's one of the things I really appreciated about growing up in Toronto in Canada. First thing was how tiny the cockroaches were. That was a big thing for me. I'm not even gonna lie. Because I come from an island, man. They're huge. Late at night in Canada, when you go see, you grew up in a house. You don't know what I'm talking about. You have no clue. You grew up in a nice house, something. Hot water. Blanket. phones. I'm more cool than a sweater. They turning up no heat. Matter if we make our money, they all stuff some newspaper and gazette paper inside their jacket and thing. That's how I grew up, bro. But cockroaches are tiny here. Like late at night when I'd go into the kitchen in Canada and you turn on the lights, cockroaches run back to where they come from, which was really cute. Yeah. But in Trinidad, that don't happen. Because cockroaches are huge, giant. You go into the kitchen late at night and you turn on the light, the cockroach standing there with the fridge open. You want something? You might want to go no frills and do some blasted groceries. Hey, hold this quarter for the shopping cart there. Turn off the blasted light. You're paying for hydro. Here, they're quiet. They don't make any noise. They don't bother you. You have roaches. You don't even know you got cockroaches. But in Trinidad, you're trying to sleep all night. You hear anything like, open the door now, boy. I forget my keys. My kids will never know that. And it's funny. It's funny, not funny, haha, bro. You know what's crazy to me is that this younger generation running around with all this crazy violence. And I'm like, you guys got a good life, man. Why are you guys even messing with that stuff, you know? There's no need to. Your parents came here to give you a great life, and you running around like a dummy shooting guns and trying to be all gangster and stuff. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, man. I'm not saying kids are dumb. I'm just saying they're doing dumb stuff. Because I went through that. I still try to educate, man. Like, there are times when someone will ask me, like, because like Canadian people, like white people like to ask lots of questions sometimes. And like, wow, you know, what's this? Like, what can I do? What should I do? You know, can I participate in what you guys doing? And I always tell them one thing. If you ever get invited to a basement reggae party in Scarborough, do not go. It's terrifying. I remember going to my first reggae party in someone's basement, and they had security at the door. And I'm like, who has security at a basement party, right? Dude, big, giant, tall dude starts frisking me and patting me down like he works for the airport, right? And he looks me in the face. He's like, yo, you have any guns? And I'm like, nah, man. He's like, all right, take this one. Enjoy the party, Bridget. Free world boss. I don't get to do this often. I don't normally perform in front of my people, which is pretty cool. Mostly it's white people, man. I like Canadian people, and I don't have a problem with that because I like sharing who we are. I think we are a fantastic, strong region of people, man. I got a tattoo of a coconut tree on my hand because if you don't know anything about the coconut tree, like the wood, it's the most durable of all the lumbers, man. It could take wind and hurricane, it'll bend, but it won't break. And that's how I see us as a community, right? We bend, but we don't break. You give us all kind of pressure and jamming, and we just keep coming back with who we are, because we're deep when it comes to our history, you know? And that's why I love the accent. Even I switch the accent because I love it too much, you know? And it's funny because our accents are different, right? Like the Jamaican accent is different from the Trini accent. We all know that. Like the Trini, my Jamaican friends always make fun of me, like, yo, Trini boy, I sing song the whole time, pan, so yeah. Up and down with your jump and wave accent, yeah. And the Trini accent, like I said, it's very sing-song. You know, we say boy, and big nice sounding. And the Guyanese just saying everything backwards, you know. Chicken curry, curry chicken. Is that wrong with all you? It's like you guys are reading everything in a mirror. Just turn the mirror around. Hey, I do want to say this for all the older heads in here that watched cricket this year. You guys almost did it. The Guyanese team, it was the Amazons, right? You guys had a really, really good run in that the CP20. I really enjoyed watching that stuff, and you guys could have won and should have won. But hey, that's the way cricket goes. That's the way the ball bounces. But it was cool. But I love it. I love being us. I love being us. I love showing my kids, you know, this kind of stuff. And that's why I like living in Toronto, too, because whatever kind of food you want, you can get. That's the beautiful part about living here, you know. Whatever we want, we can get. And I try to teach my kids that. Like, if we want Greek food, we can go down to the Danforth. We want Jamaican food, we can go down to Eglinton West, you know what I mean? You want Chinese food, we go down to Spadina. We want Canadian food, we just go to Tim Hortons, you know? But I love seeing Canadian people in our restaurants, I do. Nothing makes me more proud than seeing Canadian people in our Caribbean restaurants, because that means they're trying something. But Canadian and white people are the most anthropological people you'll ever meet. They like to, this is great, this sounds so cultural, let's try this. Ooh, what's this place? Niceys, wow, must be nice. And they start ordering stuff off the menu and they have no clue what it is. You ever seen that happen? They're like, oh wow, oxtail, this looks so good. Wow, look at the oxtail. Ooh, look at this, rice and peas. It's rice and peas. Ooh, what's this one? Kalulu. It's Kalaloo boy. What the hell wrong with you? And everything's always spicy for Canadians too. They start eating and they're like, oh my gosh, this is so hot. What is this? Wow, it's hot. It's burning my tongue. And you'd be like, let's catch up, man. What the hell wrong with you, Brits? I'm madmano. I like being married. I'm one of those. Been married 14 years. Celebrate 14 years. Thank you. It's my third wife, but kidding. It's the same one. It's the same lady. I like being married. I remember when I got married. I remember right before I got married, I went down to Trinidad and Tobago to see my parents, because my parents had been married almost 50 years at that point, right? And what better role models would you want than your parents, you know, who are still together, right? And I'd never been married before. I said, I've got to go get some advice from my folks, right? So I fly down to Trinidad, and I remember I remember talking to my mom, like, Mom, how do you and Dad stay married so long? What advice can you give me? And I remember my mom, a little short, Trini woman, watched me in my face, and she's like, well, son, sometimes in marriage you just need to learn how to fantasize. And I didn't know if I wanted to hear the rest of this from my mom. Like I could feel, right? But she continues, and she's like, yes. Sometimes with your father, I fantasize he'll be sleeping soundly in the bedroom. I'll wake up before him, the sun coming in through the windows, little dust particles floating around. You know, it's real slow motion, real sexy and thing. And I watch your father sleeping and I fantasize, I wish you were just dead in your sleep. I fantasize every day. Oh God. Keep my loins burning. You guys think I'm kidding? It's my mom for real. Grandma. She's grandma to two she grandchildren. I love us, man. I love everything about us, man. Celebrate that going into 2020. You know that we're special people, man. All the younger generation, I know you guys think you just know what you think from all the music and all that stuff, but it's deeper than that, man. The history is dope, and we've influenced a lot of history that we don't understand. And here's the thing, even I'll give you a little Canadian and Caribbean history in one shot. Here's what I'll teach you. So because of comedy, I've had the luxury of being able to travel around Canada, right? So I remember the first time I went to Halifax. And if you ever get a chance to take your kids or your family to Halifax in the summer, go. It's beautiful. It's a long drive, but it's worth it. It's right on the ocean, great seafood, the people are friendly. Like the East Coast people are like us, but white. Like they're very small town friendly. Oh, come on, I'll take you here, there, boy. And they're real cool, right? So the reason I was excited about going to Halifax is because if you didn't know, the Underground Railroad, you know, came up through Halifax, and there's a little settlement of black people called Africville right in Nova Scotia. So I was excited. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna see some black people, right? But then I get out there and I don't see any. But it's Canada, it happens like that sometimes. So this one bar that I walk into, I open the door and I do that quick scan. We all do that quick racial scan to see if there's anybody else we can hang with, right? Like, but there was none. It was just me. So I walking in, and out of the corner of my eye, I see this drunk Newfie dude staring at me. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the number one rule with a drunk Newfie is never lock eyes, never. It's the number one rule. So I keep looking straight, right? 5 minutes go by, he's staring, I could still feel him looking, right? 10 minutes go by, he's still staring, I'm not looking, I could still feel him. 15 minutes go by, he's still staring. Now I'm like, I gotta see what this guy looks like. So I said, I'll just do this real quick, just to see, right? The second I do this, we lock eyes. He sees me, seeing him, seeing me. And without hesitation, he yells from across the room, "Hey, boy, where you from there, boy?" Which is a weird question to ask someone you've never met before, right? So I'm like, I don't know anyone here. Just answer the question and keep it going. So I go, I'm from Toronto. And he goes, no, the color of your skin, where are you originally from there, boy? Which is a weird follow-up question, but I'm like, just keep it moving. So I go, I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago. And then he goes, oh, Trinidad and Tobago, that's in the Caribbean there. It's close to Jamaica. You guys got the sand, the sun, the seas, and all that kind of good stuff there. Which really impressed me because I didn't expect him to know that much geographically about our region, right? But then he gives me a history lesson about Halifax, and he lets me know in the late 1700s, some volunteers from the Jamaican tribe called the Maroons helped build a piece of the Halifax Citadel, which is this historical building smack dab in the middle of the city, right? I'd never read that anywhere. I'd never been taught that in history class, never seen that online. So with someone from the islands, I was very proud to know that this was, our involvement, right? But he was drunk, so he didn't say the Maroons, he said the Macaroons. Which completely threw me off, so I leaned in and I'm like, the chocolate coconuts? Which confuses him because he leans in on me and goes, you can't call them that there, boy. That's kind of racist. All right. So here's what I'm going to close with. I'm going to give you this one last story. So everybody here knows that marijuana is legal now, right? Everybody knows that? Okay. Kids? All the kids here? You guys know that? Okay. I'm not saying to do it. That's not what I'm saying. But this is the story, and it involves ganja. So, what I love most about being from an island are the characters that we have on the islands, right? Like, one of my favorites is, because in Jamaica, they have the badman, and they have the conchas. They have a badman, me is a badman, and they say, me is a conchas, Jah Rastafari, and that's what they preach, right? And in Trinidad, they think there's no badman. My Jamaican friends are like, yeah, no badman in Trinidad. I'm like, we have a badman. We call them a bad John. You know what I mean? A bad John, which is short for bad John. Like a long time ago, it was one man who was a real bad fella, and his name was John. So they call him Bad John, you know what I mean? But it has evolved. We don't have Bad John anymore. We have Aizaman. That is what we have. Aizaman. My uncle is Aizaman, because that's how he talks. So when I go to Trinidad, and it's like, yo, uncle, can we go to the beach? He's like, Aizaman who don't really like to go to the beach and then. Aizaman who don't really like to see no next man in short pants. I's a man who don't really like to see no next man toes in the sand and thing and as that. It's my uncle, I's a man. But in Jamaica, there's badman and there's conchas. And every now and then you meet one in the middle that is a conchas badman. It's like Sizzla Kalonji. He's a conchas badman. And if you don't know what a bad man is, they don't do anything. They're not lazy. They just don't do anything that seems like it would be fun. Like the last time I was in Jamaica, I'm like, yo, I was like, Everton, can we go get some ice cream? It's hot. He's like, bad man don't eat ice cream. I'm like, what? It's delicious. Cools my temperature down. So, here's the thing. The bad man don't do anything, but the roots man I love. I love roots man. And the reason I love roots man is because they unapologetically preach liberation on black this and Africa and, you know what I mean? They just preach where they're from and they're unashamed and unapologetic about it, right? But here's the thing. If you ever get caught at a reggae party with a real roots man, and he tries to pass you something that he is smoking. And the reason that Rastafari smoke it is because it takes them closer to Jah. It's a spiritual, religious thing for them, right? It's not a frivolous, I'm just trying to get, it's not that. Like, that's all part of their roots and culture, right? I mean, they're always preaching stuff. And the funny thing is, I'm standing around as a party, roots man here, fresh from a yard Jamaican kid, and the roots man, dreads, and I'm just standing there, and the roots man's preaching is like, you see, black man is African, every African is black man. Think about it. But the young, fresh from a yard Jamaican kid is like, nah man, is Jamaican, me a born, Jamaican, me a dead, sir. But the roots man was cool, he takes a long draw, right? Like, he's like, nah, youth man, think about it. You are not Jamaican. Because if a sheep was born in a pig pen, that sheep is not a pig. Think about it. It's like, that is the deepest slavery joke I've ever heard in my entire life. So now you're feeling comfortable, right? So you start passing it around because you're confident. It's like, I could handle this. But they smoke a different grade. It's a high grade. So they're passing it around. And then when he watches, the roots man watches what you're doing. And then he starts to make little calculations in his head. And then he starts dropping little bits of knowledge. And he'll be like, yo, if a fish I did swim in the water and the fish now open his mouth, he wouldn't get hooked. Think about it. And you're like, true thing, brethren, true thing. Then he keeps going deeper and deeper, and then he'll hit you with one like, yo, check this out. If you get into a fight with a dreadlock and you knock him out, is him still conscious? Think about it. But the young youths man trying to fight it, the youth fella, he's trying to fight it. He's like, yeah, well, how come all the roots man smoke weed all day long, sir? Trying to throw him off, right? But the roots man is cool. He'd be like, weed is a negative and stereotypical word which are bring up by the white man in North America. Weed a kill and choke plants in the earth. This is herb. This is not weed, this is herb. And herb a heal sick people. Plus you find it with spices in Kentucky Fried Chicken. Think about it. But then at the end of the night, when he realizes you're totally gone through, this is when he drops the big bomb on you, man. It's like, you see herb? Herb I give the Rasta man vision. Make him see things clear. Just like him I wear glasses. And that youth man is why them call the first dreadlock Rastafari. Think about it. So that is my time, but before I let you guys go, I really want to commend you guys for supporting mental health. And we are literally rolling into a season like Christmas where people don't have family and they may think that they're happy and that the end of the year isn't doing well. Please, please, please do your best to reach out to someone you may not have talked to in a long time and just check and see how they're doing. If you're having a struggle, you reach out to someone just so that you could get some peace, because life is supposed to be lived and not supposed to be scared to be, to reach out. These are your people, these are your family, these are your friends. So that's all I want to say is don't be scared to be people and talk to each other, man. Good night. God bless. My name's John Paul.
Thank you. Come on, put your hands together for